Joey is just like you. He eats 3 meals a day, consisting of the 4 macromolecules: lipids, carbohydrates, nucleic acids, and proteins. Today, we're going to introduce you to Joey and show you just how you're also getting the macromolecules you need. Remember, kids, macromolecules are macromolecule. Here we see Joey eating a balanced breakfast of carbos. What are carbos made of, Joey?
Carbohydrates.
We know that carbs are the body's main source of fuel, but what is it exactly? Glucose is an extremely prevalent carbohydrate, and it provides energy for animals and people alike. Another common example of a carbohydrate is cellulose, used in structural support in plant cell walls. Plants and humans also differ in how energy is stored, with animals utilizing glycogen, while plants rely more heavily on starch. This kind of differentiation allows all species of organisms to save up long-term energy for later use, and provides the origin for the common belief that athletes should eat a carb-full meal the night before a competition.
Hey Joshy, what are some other types of carbohydrates? Are they as good as carbos?
You can make new sugars via a process called dehydration synthesis, where 2 molecules are joined together following the removal of water. Thanks to this fun little process, fructose and glucose can be put together to create sucrose. Similarly, glucose combined with itself can create maltose, and glucose and galactose form lactose. Now let's see how else Joey gets his daily dose of macromolecules. Joey, what are you doing now?
Eating. What else would I be doing with a grilled cheese? You idiot?
Alrighty then. Well, did you know that grilled cheese, or more specifically, cheese, is filled with lipids, a type of macromolecule which includes triglyceride molecules and steroids? Both of these are very important in our bodily functions. One vital characteristic of lipids is that they're hydrophobic, or they have properties that repel water, which is what makes them so suitable to be part of the plasma membrane. Specifically, phospholipids use the water in a cell's environment to keep the plasma membrane intact, with hydrophilic heads to separate the outside environment and hydrophobic tails to permit nonpolar molecules to pass freely through the membrane. This dual polarity makes phospholipids amphipathic, or possessing both hydrophobic and hydrophilic properties. In our everyday world, lipids are primarily triglycerides, the main factors of body fat in humans and animals, and consist of 3 fatty acids and 1 glycerol. They can either be saturated or unsaturated, with a double bond depending on the bonding of the fatty acids. Unsaturated, with this double bond creating a kink in the chain. Without a double bond present, fatty acid chains are considered saturated, and each carbon atom is joined by a single bond. What else do you got there?
What do you mean? I've given him a nutritious lunch. It got all the macromolecules he needs.
You don't want to forget about protein. Joey, you have a side of ham, right?
Oh boy, yeah! Ham is made up of proteins. Proteins have a multitude of functions, making them a very versatile macromolecule. Boy! Proteins are structured on 4 different levels: primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary structure. The primary structure describes the order of the amino acids of a given protein. Then, its secondary structure details how the sequence of amino acids are shaped, either in beta-pleated sheets or in alpha helix. That's pretty swiggity swag right there. The tertiary structure displays how the sequence of the amino acids fits all together with the multiple alpha helices and beta-pleated sheets in a 3-dimensional model. 3D, whoa, that's radical! Finally, the quaternary structure is how the amino acids, now joined from a protein, look once they have connected with other polypeptide subunits in their final shape. This complex, layered structure determines a protein's function. Proteins have 5 major functions: acting as antibodies, transport/storage proteins, structural support proteins, messengers, and enzymes. Antibodies are proteins that flow through your bloodstream, even yours, Daddy, and recognize and bind specific antigens in order to they are responsible for preventing pathogens from entering your system. Carbos, carbos, carbos.
Alright, Joey, I think you've had a little too many carbos. Antigens also play an important role in stimulating other cells to destroy targeted pathogens. They perform opsonization, a process that marks the pathogens to be identified and neutralized by other immune cells. Proteins can also be found in the plasma membrane, referred to as transport proteins, and they facilitate transportation of polar molecules, as well as maintaining the charges and ion levels across the membrane. Microtubules, microfilaments, and intermediate filaments are all proteins which contribute to the cell's structure. Proteins can also act as messengers, for example, protein kinases. Almost all enzymes are classified as proteins. They catalyze reactions, lowering their activation energy and making it easier for products to be created.
Alright, wait a frick-frack paddywhack a minute. Aren't we forgetting a macromolecule? Well, we got them proteins, we got them lipids, we got them carbohydrates. Nah, they're supposed to be four. Don't you lie to me, Joshy.
That's right, Daddy. We also have nucleic acids. That's what makes up your DNA.
DNA? You mean that stuff I get from my daddy?
That's right, Joey. Nucleic acids are the building blocks for DNA and RNA, the material that determines each person's set of genes. DNA consists of a string of nucleotides. Nucleotides are made of a nitrogenous base, a phosphorus molecule, and a ribose, or 5-carbon sugar. When nucleotides are joined together, DNA or RNA is formed, running and copying itself in a 5' to 3' direction. There are 5 different nitrogenous bases that are copied during replication and help to solidify your unique genome: adenine, guanine, and cytosine, with uracil and thymine being interchangeable between RNA and DNA. DNA exclusively uses thymine, while RNA uses uracil. Pretty crazy, right, Joey?
Go. Alright. Yeah.
Thanks, Joshy. Wow, we sure learned a lot about macromolecules today, right, Daddy?
Yeah!
I can't wait to go get some more macromolecules tomorrow. Let's go home.
Bye!
All in all, macromolecules can be found high and low, all around and up and down in this wonderful world we live in. Don't forget your daily dose of carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids, kids.